Good evening and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. I'm Adarius McCormick. Two children were abducted in Missouri City. A 4-year-old black male, Royal Dixon, in a yellow checker shirt and black pants, and black female 6-year-old Kennedy Bree Love in a flower patterned shirt and white pants were taken in a black Jeep. Black female Brianna Cannon is the suspect. The independent administrator for the Luther Hotel, Annie Ruth Jones, has not given a clear confirmation for demolition. The Texas Historical Commission says they will not take any action until they receive this confirmation. Since speaking to Jones, any plans with the hotel are null and void. The hearing for June 22nd has been postponed. The Palacios Preservation Association will host a fundraising event on June 24th for support. At least 15 people are injured after a mass transit bus in Baltimore collided with 2 passenger cars. Baltimore police say on Saturday morning, the MTS bus first struck a Lexus in an intersection, then collided with a Nissan before plowing into a building and stopping. Between 10 and 15 people were taken to the hospital, 2 possibly with life-threatening injuries. There was no immediate information about what caused the collisions or whether the bus driver is among the injured. The Maryland Transit Administration police say they're actively investigating the incident. Kentucky State Police are investigating what appears to be a triple murder-suicide. Law enforcement received a 911 call and showed up at a residence Friday morning to find 4 bodies identified as 15-year-old Chloe Little, 34-year-old Ashley Little, 58-year-old Luther Combs, and 78-year-old Missouri Gross. Investigators suspect Ashley Little shot the 3 others before turning the gun on herself. There's no word on a possible motive or what the relationships were between victims or the possible shooter. It's been over a week since 2 planes carrying migrants flew into Sacramento from out of state, with Florida confirming it was responsible for both of those flights. The 36 migrants prompted responses from both California and Florida officials. All the while, questions still remain about what's next for the migrants and what they think about being flown across the country.
It took 62 days.
Mi viaje comenzó el 1 de enero. Salí de Venezuela.
And an unimaginable journey across multiple countries.
A la medida que uno iba caminando, se iba encontrando muchos niños muertos, personas muertas, personas que se ahogaban, personas que le picaban los animales.
Before this man, who preferred not being identified, made it across the border into El Paso, Texas, and sought asylum. He was also among the first group of migrants who were flown to Sacramento by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and explains how it happened.
Que ellos estaban dando pasajes para California, que nos iban a dar trabajo, que nos querían ayudar, nos iban a dar casa donde tenernos, y además de eso nos iban a arreglar todos los documentos.
He and other migrants said they took the flights after living on the street and having a few bad experiences.
Trabajé un día mecánico, llegué todo, mi ropa la perdí porque me fui como estaba y no me pagaron. O sea, tampoco me podía poner a pelear con la persona. Me dice, mañana te voy a pasar por ti a la misma hora, mas nunca apareció.
Most of them signed documents that they say they didn't understand. But none of the 36 migrants imagined that their relocation was all part of a political statement.
Pero sí nos sentimos engañados que nos trajeron bajo unas promesas que no cumplieron.
At the moment, local attorneys are assisting them with their cases, trying to move their appointments to the Sacramento area as they try to make this their home.
The biggest challenge is looking at long-term housing for them. You know, stabilizing any person, whether you are a refugee seeker or just a resident of Sacramento, housing is the #1 issue impacting us.
As of today, 5 of the migrants have been reunited with family members across the country, and 31 are still in Sacramento. Marisela de la Cruz, KCRA 3 News.
As Texas faces more severe weather this weekend, one community is beginning to recover from this week's tornado disaster. At least 3 people were killed in the Panhandle community of Perryton. ABC's Mariah Villarreal has more.
Big tornado, holy smokes!
Overnight, the community of Perryton, Texas, reeling over their loss. A massive tornado crushing the small town, destroying over 200 structures, and killing 3, including an 11-year-old boy. Good Samaritan Tommy Kerbel describing the moment they found him.
We found the kid. Mom was screaming, crying.
Kerbel returning to one of the hardest hit neighborhoods to help families affected by Thursday's devastating tornado. Fire Chief Paul Dutcher and his crews working around the clock to keep families safe as they start to clean up.
We're all rolling up our sleeves and we're getting out here and trying to do what we can for the citizens.
For residents like Julio Garcia Mercez, the help can't come fast enough. His family of 8 hid in this small bathroom, emotional as he describes how their home collapsed around them, thanking God they all survived.
Now it's time to talk weather on this Sunday night. Let's check in with first warned storm team meteorologist, Mr. Howie Gordon. Howie, it's hot, it's humid, it's Texas. Tell us all about it.
You pretty much summed it up there, Darius. Yeah, it's not even officially summer, a few more days from now, but it's felt like summer for the last couple of weeks. It has been hot, hot, hot. Today, excessive heat warnings, heat advisories, temperatures in Victoria officially around 3:52 p.m., 118 degrees with the real feel. We might be headed there again tomorrow. Temperatures still on the uncomfortable side in the mid to upper 90s, even the low 100s in some spots. We'll talk more about our heat wave and will we get some relief? We'll touch on that in my full forecast coming up very soon. Darius.
Thank you so much, Howie. Some residents in the Houston neighborhood of Denver Harbor are on a fixed income. Sometimes they can't afford to pay for good air conditioning systems or bear the cost to keep up with the energy bills. Now you'll get a little glimpse into their lives as they try to stay cool in this extreme heat.
When it's this hot in Houston, not even the haze clouding the city skyline can soften the heat and humidity. On the northeast side of town, Miguel Sanchez tries to find some relief as he sits in the shade on the porch of his home of more than 40 years. He says the heat is unbearable and it feels like our summers are only getting hotter every year. The 87-year-old didn't get much sleep. His only air conditioning unit broke overnight. His daughter came to the rescue this morning to install a new one. Just a few streets down at the cooling center in Denver Harbor, some of these seniors are dealing with similar problems.
No, so it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. It gets real hot.
Some of them tell us they're on a fixed income and can only afford a small air conditioning unit. It's not enough to cool much of their home.
And then when we open that door to go to the bedroom, you feel all the heat coming back like you open the front door. So we're all actually confined to one solid area.
No, we don't turn on our ACs because the bill is too high.
For now, these neighbors are getting by in the extreme heat, but they worry about what's going to happen next if things get worse.
Scared to lose my power.
That brings us to your viewer poll this evening. Scan the QR code on your screen to vote now. Are you concerned with your energy bill? Yes or no? We have 83% saying yes and 17% saying no. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate. And now grab your cell phone and scan this QR code. This is our quick response code to download the Crossroads Today app. Watch us anytime, anywhere, and get breaking news, alerts, and vote in our viewer polls. Learn all about our ongoing contest right there on our app. You can also submit news tips and photos. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up, President Joe Biden pays a visit to Philadelphia following the collapse of I-95.
We stay hot, 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 but maybe a little bit of relief later in the week. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit.
President Biden visited Pennsylvania today following the I-95 bridge collapse. He received an aerial tour of the site aboard the Marine One. Severe weather in the area caused a brief delay in the reconstruction. Governor Josh Shapiro saying they will have I-95 open within the next 2 weeks. Dr. Anthony Fauci has a warning for us that while COVID cases are way down, a new variant could quickly change that. Fauci spoke Saturday at a university in Italy. He said the world needs to remain vigilant to control and manage COVID so it doesn't quickly mutate into variants that current treatments and immunities cannot control. Fauci said the likelihood of that happening is not known, but also not impossible. He said he agrees with the World Health Organization's assessment the virus is no longer a global health emergency, but said it will take diligence for it to stay that way. A scary incident out on the water shows the moment of a boat capsizing, prompting an impromptu rescue mission from a fisherman.
A dramatic rescue caught on camera. Travis Brady and two of his friends were fishing for red snapper in the Panama City Marina Friday morning. That's when the weather took a turn for the worse.
Within 15 minutes, we were in, 5 foot, 6 foot waves.
As they were calling it a day, heading back to land, they saw this boat,
oh my God,
going adrift.
That boat, look at that thing, is gonna capsize too.
We went out ourselves, tried to assist with their rescue efforts.
Okay, looks like they've got somebody.
The boat capsized, debris scattered across the water, and then a man in another boat jumped into action. Here you see him jumping in the water without hesitation. Brady says he busted out the window in the boat and got the people out.
He's the true hero of the story. He, without hesitation, was just in the water helping those people.
Brady and his friends then helped get them back to shore, 3 from the houseboat and another person from a nearby pontoon. Selfless acts of courage, all to help strangers.
It restores your faith in humanity, makes you really reflect on the things that are important in life. I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but it was an intense moment that, ultimately, I'm just going to say it came down to God putting us in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, we will. We'll catch it for
Brady then helped the man who saved the distressed swimmers get back to shore, people helping each other, a good ending to a bad situation.
Glory be to God, man. He put us in the right place at the right time. I've never been super religious, but today was just a super eye-opening moment for me, and I just feel like divine intervention puts you in the right place at the right time.
For more on today's news stories, come to crossroadstoday.com. Don't forget to submit your birthday wishes. Carolina Strain and Trey Mining will read them live on 25 News Now Sunrise. You can also submit a local military hero so we can recognize them.
Straight ahead, we're going to talk about the heat. All right, hot and humid, that's an understatement. Heat warnings, excessive heat warnings, heat advisories, but possibly cooler later on in the week. All right, today we made it up to just 97. I say just 97, but then with the heat index value, 118 degrees back in 1934, 101 for an ambient temperature. All right, here's a shot in Quira. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of cloud cover. We do have some low-level moisture, high pressure kind of holding things in place. Not low enough to really be a foggy problem, but hey, a little bit of cloud cover. Those clouds should start to disperse tomorrow. That's just more moisture in the air. And with more moisture in the air, higher dew points, higher humidity levels, and yes, that uncomfortable feeling we don't like. Now, we have a little bit of wind. So with high pressure kind of surrounding the atmosphere, surrounding the area, then with some storms and boundaries further to the north, they're kind of pulling on one another. Yeah, we're getting some winds as high as maybe 20, 25 mile per hour gusts. But I'll take that. I don't want just calm, stale, sitting air when it's this hot. You just slowly rot away in the sunshine. No, no, no. A little bit of a breeze, even though it's a warm one, starts to mix the air a little, and it just feels a little more comfortable compared to zero wind at all. But I talked about these dew points in the lower 80s. We get to be about 60, 65 degrees. And yes, we get on that uncomfortable, unreasonable side for the real feel, for the feeling of that hazy, humid, uncomfortable nature. Here we are now into the 80s. A lot of moisture there, and it contributes to these. Okay, here we are at about 10:17 at night. We're still in the 100-degree real feel for portions of the viewing area. Again, 118 several hours ago. Not sure if we're going to get 118 again tomorrow, but we'll be pretty close in parts of the viewing area. Again, yes, with these high dew point temperatures, the sunshine, high pressure, we are looking at probably more heat advisories tomorrow as well as excessive heat warnings. Now, here's what we have to look forward to, or not look forward to, depending on your subjective view of this. But yeah, 115, 116. Later in the week, maybe by Friday, we might have some relief. I'll talk about that in just a moment. So high pressure surrounding us. I talked about the winds a moment ago. So with some boundaries and storms to the north, they're kind of pulling on one another. Yeah, that tug, that's generating a little bit of wind, but the high pressure really, for the most part, blocking out storms, diverting them around the area. What high pressure does, it pushes down on the atmosphere. That is a warming process in itself. Then you add the sun into the mix, then the moisture trapped into the mix as well, and then you get some of these heat indices in the 115, 118, 120 degree range. But we don't look, we're not looking at much of a change until maybe later on in the week. What's going to happen? Maybe some of the high pressure systems start to move a little further to the west and release their grip a little bit on us. And then, yeah, we might see temperatures cool down just a little bit. Here's a marine forecast. 81 for the water, seas 3 to 5, occasionally up to 6 feet. That's going to keep our bays on the choppy side. All right, what do we got going on in the tropics? Okay, down there near the Cape Verde Islands, we have Invest 92L. Now, it's in its beginning stages, but 2 days from now, potentially, that could become a tropical depression. 79 degrees overnight, and then for tomorrow, here's where we're headed. 101 degrees, heat indices of 115 and counting. And looking ahead to the rest of the week, I know, Father's Day, probably 115-ish. I got 111 on there, but anywhere between 111 and 116. And then we got a few days, 120, 122 with those heat indices. Now, for more weather news and sports, that's right, you can go to our app. That's at crossroadstoday.com, and that is free with any Android and iPhone. All right, now it's time for Sports with Zach.
Thank you, Howie. And speaking of hot, the Generals went for win number 5 in a row last night. I'll have that recap coming up in sports. Well, the General season has had some wild ups and downs. After losing its first 3 of the year, they won the next 3, followed by a 4-game losing streak. Went for their 5th straight win last night. The score tied at 3, a late Rougarou lead off triple. But the next batter trying to drive in the go-ahead run, and he is out at the plate to keep the score tied. But in extras, the Rougarou would come up with the big hits when they needed them most. They win 5-3. Here's head coach Michael Oros after the game.
We went down 3 early. We fought as a team, came back, gave ourselves an opportunity in the 8th and 9th inning to take the lead, and unfortunately we didn't come out with the victory tonight. I think we'll be okay. You know, we played a really good game, a clean game. We just didn't come up with the big hit at the right time.
You can catch them back in action this Sunday against the Seguin River Monsters. In the Major League circuit, the first place Texas Rangers welcoming the Toronto Blue Jays into town in the 2nd inning, down 1-0 until Josh Young goes yard. 2-run, 387-foot bomb going to put Texas on top. That's his 14th homer on the year. But the next batter, Jonah Heim, says, anything you can do, I can do better. His solo homer, a projected 403 feet back-to-back for the lead. Texas goes on to win 4-2 and gain ground on Houston, who welcomed the Cincinnati Reds to town. Houston gets drilled in this game 10-3. The only good news tonight, Jose Altuve, a 4-hit night. He has now done that 35 times, surpassing another Astros great, Craig Biggio. TCU and Oral Roberts, what a game one. The Horned Frogs trying to hang on to a 3-run 9th inning lead. The Golden Eagles, though, able to scratch out a win to cut the deficit to just 2 now, with 2 men on and 1 man out. A 3-run homer puts them in front in the 9th and ignites the Oral Roberts dugout. Oral Roberts' Cinderella story continues. They win Game 1 of the College World Series 6-5. Game 2 Sunday night at 6 p.m. Victoria East faced off against Lovejoy yesterday in Katy as part of the exhibition TABC tournament. They fell 48-44. Star sophomore Avery Valentine led the way with 11 points, followed by Chloe Buckner and KK Cleveland with 7. Just in, legendary West Virginia basketball coach Bob Huggins, has officially resigned. He started as an assistant in 1977 and has been head coach of the Mountaineers since 2007. He was arrested for a DUI. The 69-year-old was already suspended the first 3 games of next year for using a homophobic slur. No word on what his future in basketball will hold just yet. Fun stuff in Berlin today. The 2023 Special Olympics underway. This is the torch run to get the event started. Lots of great athletes from all over get to showcase their talents and represent their countries. Also gives marginalized individuals a chance to grow. Going back to the Astros, with their loss today, they're now tied with the Angels, and they're both 4.5 back of the first place Texas Rangers. That's your sports. Darius, back to you.
Thank you so much, Zach. Stay with us. Coming up, you can find out where to celebrate for Juneteenth this weekend. We want to invite you to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV, and on your cell phone. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. The Juneteenth event continues for its 49th year in Port Lavaca. People from around the country came back to their hometown this weekend to celebrate Juneteenth. The coordinators of the event are thankful for the outpour of support. Port Lavaca plans to party until the end of this weekend with music, food, and fellowship. Catch the festivities at Bayfront Peninsula. I tell you what, me and Mac went to that event and I about melted. It was so hot. And I thought I was hot. I know Zach was hot.
Yeah,
because he was at a game in a suit.
We went to Riverside Stadium for the Generals game, you know, going for their 5th win in a row. I tried to look good on camera, wore the suit and everything. I sweat through the entire suit. The players were laughing at me, people in the stands.
I tell you what, next time you need to take Mac's hat and a nice
well, next time will be the 50-year mark. Now, climatologically speaking, I can't say it's going to be hot, but realistically, a year from today, yeah,
it's going to be pretty hot.
It's going to be another
hotter
hot
than
I mean,
what it is now?
It's probably going to be the same.
Because it's going to say 120 on what you're about to show.
Well, it's a year from now. But speaking of that, let's go to that. Here's what we're looking at. So, yeah, we were 118 several hours ago in Victoria. Ooh. Yeah, 118 for the real feel. Now, okay, here we are at 10:30 at night. Temperatures have come down, but still right around 100 in some spots at 10:30 at night for the real feel. Yes, very much on the hot side. Overnight, we'll drop down to 80 degrees. We're supposed to be closer to 72. Mostly cloudy skies. And then for tomorrow, here's what happens. That's right back up to potentially an ambient temperature of 101. Now, our heat index or heat indices, they might be 115 and counting once again. Who knows? We could hit 119 or 120. Happy Father's Day in advance, by the way. And then looking ahead to the rest of the week for Father's Day, anywhere between 111 and 116 I'm going on there with the heat index. And then Monday, maybe 120. Then for Tuesday, 122. Now, potentially what happens is the high pressure that's really got a grip on us could start to loosen its grip a little bit, weaken, maybe move further from the viewing area off to the west. If that happens, we might get a little bit of relief. Maybe does 96 and the heat index of 105 sound better? Well, it might be a little better, but there's a chance we cool down later on in the week.
Ooh, looks like we're going to be here tomorrow in T-shirts. Thank you for being with us. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today.